Hey there and welcome. Today, we're going to jump into a really cool and powerful tool for understanding data at a glance, the box and whisker plot. Now, I know it might sound a little weird, but trust me, by the end of this, you'll see how it can tell you a whole story about numbers that a simple list just never could.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at a real-world problem with a business owner named Marsha. Then we'll get all the tools we need with something called the 5-number toolkit. After that, we'll actually build a plot together step by step. Then we'll learn how to read the story it tells us, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with the big takeaway. Sound guy? Let's do it.
So why do we even need these things in the first place? It's a fair question, right? To answer that, let's meet someone who's dealing with a problem that these plots are perfect for solving.
So, meet Marsha. She's got this awesome card-making business, and it's really taking off. But the more sales she makes, the more complicated her data gets. You know, her usual charts just aren't cutting it anymore. She needs to understand the spread of her sales. Like, what's a typical day? What are her best days? What are her worst? A simple graph just isn't giving her the full picture.
All right, so to help Marsha out, we've got to get our toolkit ready. And that just means getting comfortable with 5 key terms that are basically the building blocks for every single box and whisker plot.
First up, the tool itself. So what is a box and whisker plot? Think of it like a visual summary of your data. Instead of getting lost looking at every single number, it boils it all down to just 5 key points to show you the spread, basically how clustered or stretched out your data really is. Now, the magic that makes this all work is something called quartiles. Picture this. You take all your data and you line it up from smallest to largest. Quartiles are just 3 specific points that you mark to split that whole line of data into 4 equal chunks. We call them Q1, Q2, and Q3. Simple as that. That point right in the middle, Q2, has a special name you've probably heard before, the median. It is the exact center of your data. 50% of all your data points are below it, and 50% are above it. It's like the 50-yard line of your data set. Okay, this next one's a piece of cake. The extremes. This is literally just your smallest number, the minimum, and your biggest number, the maximum, in the whole set. These 2 numbers will eventually become the very ends of our plot's whiskers. And last in our toolkit is the Inner Quartile Range, or as we call it, the IQR. This is simply the space between Q1 and Q3, and it's what forms the box in our plot. Now, this part is huge because it shows you where the core middle 50% of your data is all clustered together. It's really the heart of your data set. Okay, toolkit assembled. We know the lingo. Now for the fun part. Let's actually build one of these things from scratch. So, let's work with some real data. Here we have a set of 15 test scores. And yeah, they're just a total jumble, right? It's pretty much impossible to make sense of how the class did just by staring at this list. Okay, first things first, and you can never skip this step. We have to put all the data in order, from least to greatest. Much better. Now things are way clearer. We can instantly see the lowest score was a 68, and the highest was a perfect 100. We're just going to follow this 5-step recipe. It's super simple. First, we find the middle. Then, we find the middle of the 2 halves. After that, we spot the minimum and maximum. And finally, we draw the whole thing. Let's get started with step 1, finding that median. All right, take a look at our nice ordered list. We've got 15 numbers there. Where's the dead center? Can you spot our median? Yep, you got it. If you count in from the left and count in from the right, you land smack dab on that 8th number in the list. So our median, our Q2, is 80. You can see there are 7 numbers to the left of it and 7 numbers to the right. Perfect. Okay, now for the next piece of the puzzle. To find Q1, we look only at the lower half of the data. You know, those 7 numbers to the left of our median. What's the middle number of that little group? It's the 4th one in, which is 73. So our Q1 is 73. We do the exact same thing for the upper half, the 7 numbers to the right. The middle of that group is 90, so our Q3 is 90. And boom, just like that, we have our 5-number summary. We've got the minimum at 68, Q1 at 73, the median at 80, Q3 at 90, and the max at 100. We have everything we need. Time to draw. All right, so we do all that work, we get our 5 numbers, we draw the plot, but so what? What does it all mean? What's the story this thing is actually telling us? Okay, this right here is the absolute key to reading these plots.
Each one of these 4 sections, the bottom whisker, the first half of the box, the second half of the box, and that top whisker, every single one holds exactly 25% of all our data points. This is so important. It doesn't matter if one section looks way longer than another, it has the exact same number of data points inside it.
So what can we figure out from that? Well, that box in the middle always shows you where that core middle 50% of the scores are. Now, if you see a really long whisker, it means the scores in that 25% chunk are really spread out. On the flip side, a tiny, short section means the scores are all packed in tight. And sometimes you might even see a lonely dot all by itself. We call that an outlier, a value that's way off from everything else.
All right, let's bring it all home. What's the one big idea you really need to walk away with today?
It really all comes down to this. A box and whisker plot is way more than just a graph. It's a snapshot of your data's story. It quickly shows you the range, the center, and the spread, all in one neat little package. So just remember, when you can box it, you can understand it. Data is telling a story, you just have to learn how to listen.